Hello and welcome to the podcast Agents of Impact. I am your host Akash Mishra. Today we on Agents of Impact, I'm thrilled to welcome Adam Olshansky, a Salesforce MVP Hall of Fame and Salesforce architect at Google. Adam's technical depth and vision have made him a go-to leader in the Salesforce community, and we all know that, and a driving force behind intelligent, human-centric solutions. Let's hear his journey of building powerful tools that help different teams at Google achieve more with Salesforce. So, welcome to the show, Adam, and we are so glad to have you today.
Thank you for having me, Akash.
Okay, so there will be a few questions that I'm going to ask you, and we'll be sharing it with the community, people getting inspired, and we'll come back and might trouble you a lot. So, the first question that I have is Adam, looking back, what experiences have shaped your leadership approach in the tech and Salesforce ecosystem?
Sure. Yeah. I always kind of think back to all the people that helped me when I was just starting out and I was new to Salesforce and didn't really know anything. So, when I went to my first Dreamforce and I met David Liu and he was talking about how he got certifications and had a website and shared his resources with me. And I think about getting involved with the MVP program, people like Eric Dreschfield, who, were going to community groups and connected with him and asked him some questions. And he took the time to help me out, referred me to Javen Aurora, who took some time to kind of mentor me and help me become an MVP. And then people at Salesforce also, Adam Seligman, who was a VP at Salesforce at the time. I met him at in a college class I was taking, and he said, "Yeah, come find me at Dreamforce. Happy to talk with you." And so, just people willing to take time out of their own day to help me out, willing to share how they got to where they are, it's kind of always inspired me to give back and make sure people can follow me and my journey in the same path as well. So I try to volunteer with groups like Rad Women and Vet Force and try to find any way I can to help people follow the same path I do. I try to speak in various places, one, because I love speaking and presenting, but also sharing my journey, both successes and failures. And I really believe that everybody has something unique to say. Everyone has unique knowledge and experiences that somebody else could benefit from. And everybody's in a place in their career that somebody else would love to be in right now. So definitely don't be afraid to use your voice and share what you know, share what you've learned. And there's definitely always someone that can benefit from it. And that's kind of the approach I've taken as well.
Absolutely, and this is really great. And what is the impact of Salesforce community in your career path? And because I have been following you since a long, long time, almost 10 years now. So how has been the journey with the Salesforce community?
I mean, it's been absolutely incredible. I've been able to travel places I never thought possible, and I really like the idea that yeah, I can travel anywhere in the world, and there's always going to be someone I can find and meet up with and talk Salesforce with. I remember I went to a conference in Uruguay, in like 2017, and the next day I stopped in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I just met up with the leader of the Salesforce user group there, and like there was already someone I'd never been there before, and there was already someone I knew that was there and I could connect with and talk with and give me some pointers on traveling. And so that's been incredible. Being able to present at, one of the largest tech conferences in the world, Dreamforce is an incredible opportunity. And again, just meeting people from everywhere and having something to talk about and share experiences with. Both being able to mentor people, be mentored by people. All of that's just been absolutely incredible for me and just parts of my career that I never could have imagined
That,
possible.
that is really incredible. Okay, so let's ask another question. Okay, you are architected Salesforce solutions across Google and multiple teams at Google. What are some of the biggest lessons you have learned about designing for scale and impact in such a large organization?
Yeah. So, Salesforce has a unique place at Google. And one of the pros and cons, I guess, of working at Google, people are always just naturally going to compare Salesforce's performance to Google's performance, right? They're used to Google searching something immediately. They're used to YouTube bringing up a video immediately. And so they expect all the tools they use to have that kind of performance. And so really having to make sure you're optimizing for speed and optimizing again and getting every little performance improvement you can out of Salesforce. And you also have to make sure your UIs are easy to use or people won't want to use your tools, right? There's always, Google's full of engineering teams and there's always another engineering team right around the corner. would be happy to have users use their tools instead. And so, the Salesforce teams I've been on, I've been with YouTube, I've been with the devices team, and now I'm with Google Play. And all the Salesforce teams I've been on have tended to thrive because we can build quality tools pretty quickly and efficiently. But we definitely still need to constantly continue to prove that we are the right choice for people to go to when they need a tool built, and keep finding our place in a large enterprise, like you mentioned.
Great. So we are into the world of agentic AI, right? And it is all about being smart, working smarter, more human service. How do you see automation and AI balancing with the human element, especially in tech forward environment like Google?
Sure. Yeah. One of the things that I've been, hoping would be the case is that some of these tech companies would start talking more about how instead of how agents are going to replace humans, how they're going to help humans. And I've been glad to see people like Mark Benioff who've been sharing this message, right? Trying to find ways for agents to augment humans and help them do their jobs better instead of replacing them. So that's, as a human worker myself, I obviously would prefer AI to help me do my job rather than replace me in doing my job. I also think to your point about the human element, I think there are some things that AI are never going to be able to do because they're just not human. And sometimes you need that human connection to do things. But I also think that you're doing yourself a disservice if you're ignoring how AI can help you make you much faster at your job. I think there are a lot of things that are maybe tedious tasks that AI can make a lot of progress on or cut down the amount of time it takes to do something, right? Maybe AI can't write your entire document for you, but if it can get you 80% of the way there, already that's a big time savings. Or just finding a way to start something for you, or tweaking your email that's a little bit too long. And so at a place like Google, you can imagine, we're all in on AI. We kind of have to be, right? Google's an industry leader, and that's where the industry is right now. And
Right.
so Google has kind of pressure to make sure that their AI tool, in this case Gemini, is among the best. And so really all the teams at Google, I think, are constantly looking for ways to get Gemini and other internal AI tools into our workflows to help us work faster and also to make sure we don't fall behind. I think one of the things that our leadership's been sharing is, admitting there will be some growing pains at first. The first time I use an AI tool, it is going to take me longer to do something and than it would take me to do it myself. But when you kind of, get in the muscle memory of using some of these tools and optimize your use of them over time, I think they're going to be payoff in the long run. So definitely looking for ways to include it as part of my tasks that I'm doing, and counting on the fact that it'll help me in the long run.
Great. So from being a developer to being an architect, growing as an architect, how has the transition shaped you think about uh, the role of Salesforce agent in both technical and strategic teams terms? Sorry,
Sure. Yes, you see, I have both the developer and architect mascots behind me here.
and literally
Uh,
telling
I'll,
you, Adam, means I have been learning so much. It has been my journey too. I have been a developer, I have been an architect, and have been an architect for 5 years. But yeah, I learn new things every day, right? And my perspective, I've seen myself and my thought process change from a lot from what I used to be 5 or 7 years ago. So that's great. So learning from you and looking at how I can relate to your thoughts on your transition is really important. Please share.
Sure. Yeah, I definitely have a lot of thoughts about that. So for me, it's always been a bit of a tricky transition because my favorite part of my job is coding, and that's really primarily a developer task,
I
right?
see
I think
Cody.
architect.
I see
Yeah,
Cody.
well, Cody's falling over here. I don't know if that's a sign for something, but yeah, developers, always have a special place to me because that's what I enjoy doing most. But I think architects, probably need to be a bit more strategic, look at the bigger picture. Developers a bit more in the weeds and doing the development and some of the specific building. I think a lot of roles really are kind of blurring together there, right? You hear about people describing themselves as admin developers, right? Some admin tasks, some developer tasks. And I also think that to some degree, everyone's kind of an architect, right? If you think about like the Salesforce architecture pyramid, some people may deep dive here and there. You may go for CTA, but sharing and visibility is something that everybody works on. A lot of people touch on integration. A lot of people touch on data architecture, right? What kind of data model do we want to have? DevOps. So, these are all architect, quote unquote, domains, but all of us kind of touch them some way or another. So I think, everyone is an architect to some extent. Maybe some people are a little more deeper than others. Uh, so for me, the transition's been less like hard one to the other. I still do developer tasks. I do some architect tasks. I do some admin tasks in my role also. When we're talking about agents, I think figuring out where an agent can best help out and how to build these agents is definitely a skill. And I also think one of the things we've been trying to do is think about re-architecting some of your processes from the ground up to be AI first, right? Instead of just saying, hey, I have a process, it doesn't work great, but let me throw an agent in and hopefully it'll get better. I think it's really an opportunity to do some spring cleaning with your processes, right? Is this process, first of all, needed at all? Is it working? If we were to rebuild it, how would we build it? And if we wanted to rebuild it knowing we could put some AI agents into the mix, how would we rebuild it then? And so thinking about your processes, thinking about your data, which is crucial for agents also. I think we all want it, Salesforce especially, to be as simple as just, flipping a switch, turning on an agent, and, we're done. But I think there is a lot more architecture and, to your point, strategic thinking that is needed really before we get to the technical part.
Absolutely, absolutely. For the best user experience, you have to think in that way. Really. Okay. What advice do you have for organizations struggling to integrate Salesforce deeply into their operations, especially in larger organizations like Google?
Yeah, so for Google, Salesforce has kind of always been in an interesting position, and I think most of the teams at Google use Salesforce as kind of a custom application building platform where we can quickly deliver tools, right? We don't, at least most teams at Google that I've been worked with, don't necessarily focus on the traditional Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, CRM, but we use it just to build custom apps for whatever we want. So when I was at YouTube, we built some apps around channels. Now I'm with Google Play, we're building apps around right titles, apps and games that are on the Play Store, and just things that are supporting the business, right? I almost suggest forgetting about Salesforce for a minute because your users don't care where their tools are built, right? I obviously would prefer them on Salesforce, but my users don't care. They just want tools that can help them do their jobs better. And so I would say focus on your processes and how you kind of can build tools and deliver tools to solve problems for your users and make it easier for them to do their jobs, right? For us, that's really kind of where Salesforce fits in perfectly. And like I said, I like that our tools are built on Salesforce. My users aren't interested in where the tools are built, right? They just want to know that they can count on our team to build tools that work and help them do their jobs better, regardless of what platform that it's on. And the fact that they happen to be built on Salesforce is just kind of a random piece of trivia for them. So I would say think about what the actual need is for your users and see if Salesforce can accommodate it.
And our podcast is going to be live on one of those YouTube channels. Not sure. Okay. Advice to the leaders. What excites you most about where Salesforce is heading, especially with the growing emphasis on automation, AI, and impact at scale?
I think it's just an incredible time in our industry right now. A little bit of a scary time also, but I think it's just partially because no one really knows where everything is going, right? You think about Agentforce as an example, right? It launched less than a year ago, and we're on version 3 already,
Yep.
right? ChatGPT has been out for 2 years, and they're already on version 5, right? I think Gemini's on version 2.5, and they have a couple different versions within that. There's some deep research and a bunch of other things as well. And so, all this stuff is so new, and yet there are so many iterations and things are changing so quickly. And in the last few months, I think I've been hearing that from people that have been using these tools for a while, they've gotten much stronger, they've gotten much better. And so, selfishly, I think if you ask me what excites me most, the fact that Agentforce is going to be able to run on Gemini soon, being at
Wow.
Google is exciting for me personally. But I think the nature of our work and our jobs is going to change to some degree, and we're going to learn new skills like prompt engineering and what the best use cases for agents are. I think about kind of how the tech world has gone, and that's always been the case to some extent. New tools are popping up. We need to figure out how to use them, maybe a little bit faster in the AI world than in the past. But I think also to some extent, I think about your mindset here, because really it's a bit of a reset. Everyone's kind of starting at zero. Nobody knows anything right now. So if you
Absolutely.
were worried, okay, well, someone's been using Flow for 10 years and I just started. Someone's been doing Apex for 10 years and I'm just starting. Everybody's just starting with AI right now. So this is actually a great opportunity to get in and think about using some of these new tools and getting familiar with some of these new tools. For now, I'd say, we all do have day jobs too. As much as we'd like to drop everything and go all in on AI, it's not always doable. So what I try to do is keep up with industry terminology, stay current on what the latest tools can do, even if you're not ready to implement them just yet. And part of being an architect in general is knowing what all the options are, know what all the tools are capable of. And then when a use case comes up, you'll be ready for it, right? In my day to day, I try to think of tedious tasks that I have at work or even in my personal life that AI can do faster. Just as an example, I had to create a bunch of calendar appointments the other day that were all at different times. And instead of going in and doing a bunch of clicks on my calendar, I just asked Gemini, hey, can you create all these calendar events? Some are at this time, some are at this time, and it was able to do it in a few seconds. So finding ways to build that muscle memory of using AI and seeing where it works and seeing where it doesn't, I think is very, very crucial right now.
And with that, I think, Adam, we are on time. And I have one final question before I close this podcast. So the
Mhm.
question is, what uh, what you think of impact? It can be a one-word answer. It can be elaborative. So, what is impact for you for the work you do?
Sure. I mean, I was thinking about this recently, actually. There are definitely days where I feel they're not as impactful as I like them to be. But really, I want to be proud of the work that I'm doing. I want to know that the tools that I'm building are providing value to my users. I want to know that I'm using the latest and greatest technology and make sure my skills stay current in the industry. There's definitely a lot of uncertainty ahead, and I'm trying to make a conscious effort to balance what I'm doing with some learning. I'm fortunate that we're being encouraged to use AI at work as part of my job, but I'm also doing some learning outside of work to make sure I continue to provide meaningful impact in the future. And so I'd encourage anyone listening to try to do the same.
Thank you so much, Adam. So that's a wrap on this episode of Agents of Impact. Huge thanks to Adam Olshansky for sharing his insights on scaling service with purpose, the future of agentic AI, and what it means to lead and with impact in the Salesforce ecosystem. If you have enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with your fellow trailblazers. Until next time, keep driving impact one conversation at a time. Thank you so much, Adam, for all the support and for all the beautiful answers. It is going to inspire many people.
Thank you so much.